You should know how it works.
You know that BGS is real simple. Here's the question: if
Mm-hmm.
with for these folks that are saying that they're not part of the community, they need to understand is that, like you said, a community isn't a set of buildings. It's a group of people. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to place yourself in that community. You don't have to participate in that community to be part of that community, that group,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're over, just because you refuse to admit that you're among people who are over 6 foot, just because you deny it doesn't mean you're not over 6 foot. You're over
Mm-hmm.
6 foot
Yeah.
until you chop your feet off or something, right?
So,
So,
so it's so interesting how we as Black people. I mean, this is just an example of how this thing that we call white supremacy is encroached on the Black psyche. That for some reason, every other group can interact with other communities while retaining whatever
exactly.
their ethnic background is.
Mm-hmm.
A Chinese person isn't less Chinese because they date outside of Chinese, because they have families outside of Chinese. No.
Look at Cardi B.
Yeah.
She will tell you in a minute she's not black,
Yeah.
and the
I
vast
mean, wait,
majority of her fans are likely black.
They are.
But for some reason, well, where I was going with that is that, look, if you go to if a white person, all these white people that call other people niggas, if they can look at you and they'll likely call you a nigga too, that lets you know what group you're in.
Yeah. Cardi B call them black
Cockroaches
bitches already.
And cockroaches or something.
and cockroaches. But you can't let them tell it. Well, I refuse to admit. Well, you don't need to agree to anything. Shit. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? You either are or you are not. And it is a
Mhm.
fact. See, here's the thing, BJS, they don't get.
Mm-hmm.
Blackness isn't voluntary. It's
No, it
a
didn't.
social
you, you
classification.
you know how many and shout out to the late Dr. Wilson. She said she'd be a billionaire if she had two pills, one to turn your skin white, one to give you blue eyes. You know how many black people actually get out of the black community if they
Oh
could?
my goodness. There wouldn't be enough transportation to ship them out.
To
but,
ship them out.
but here's the problem with that,
Hmm.
right? You may be able to change your skin, your eye color,
Hmm.
right? But you can't change your birth certificate.
Nope.
Oh,
But they would try.
they will figure out a way.
Oh, they would try.
They'd be
Man,
under.
look at Tiger Woods when he got that DUI when he was on the Mets.
Ooh,
Under
all of a
his
sudden.
race, that thing said B. It didn't say C for Cablasion.
Right.
Or
So
A
they
for
need to start
Asian.
understanding that any nigga means all nigga. You know what I
All
mean? If
niggas.
you are part nigga, you are all nigga. Ain't no such thing as a 1% nigga. And these guys, they don't want to admit to that. Look, it just is what it is. You didn't volunteer to be born here. You didn't volunteer to have the parents you have. This is how you
What
know
you know
what,
what I
BGS,
find
that's the
funny?
way that needs to be seen though.
You
It's
know
not
what?
about what you think of yourself. It's about
Hmm.
how they think of you. So if you say to them, they classify you as being black, that's a fact. That's not an opinion, right?
Yeah.
It is a fact that they classify you as being black, and it is a fact that they are the one that came up with that system of black and white in the first place.
Yeah.
So when someone calls you black, we're not saying that, if you go back a million years that, in your blood. No, no. What we're saying is this is how they see you. This is how they have classified you. That is a fact. You can't deny that. We don't care about what you think about yourself. It's not like it's something left up to opinion anyway. When you say, well, I feel like, well, I think, it doesn't matter what you think. You might think you're the most handsome motherfucker on the damn planet. But over here, if you don't meet their requirements that they set up and they put you in this system,
Hmm.
and they do have control of you, whether or not they have reign over you, whether you want to admit it or not, until you are the big boy, until you have the most guns, the most power, and you can say this doesn't exist here, and
Hmm.
anybody who disagrees will be locked up or killed or shipped out under your rule, then what they say is what it is here. That's
You
just
know,
how it goes.
you know how it took 500 years. It took 300 years for the Jews to integrate, or the so-called Jews. Well, 'cause I don't want to even get into that argument. to actually whiten their skin, blue their eyes, integrate into society, and they thought they had made it. They left the poor disenfranchised Jews in the ghetto along with the gypsies and shit, right? So they moved into the upper class into the upper class German society, right? There were international bankers. In fact, one of the I think one of Hitler had a Jewish banker.
Right.
Yeah. But the thing is, they moved up in upper society. At the end of the day, when the shit turned south, guess what? They all got a bullet in the back of the head.
Yeah, matter of fact, Hitler's
banker was Max. What's his name?
Yeah, he was the head of S. Blackroder, which is basically a Nazi bank, Rothschild bank.
Even they had to flee.
You know, it's funny how they say it's not whether you're black, it's how much money you have. Well, here's what they don't want to admit to though. They try to keep you from having money based on your skin color. So it's still skin color. They just try to put it under a different title. Hey, if you have money, you'll be fine. Now we're going to keep you from getting money because of your skin color.
Yeah.
But if you get money, then you're fine. And then you find out that's not even true.
Yeah, Michael Jackson had white friends, whitened his skin. You know, he was worth $1 billion.
Absolutely. At one point in time, the most famous person on the planet. And that one point in time lasted quite a long time. He was the biggest name on the planet. And look what they did with him.
Michael Jackson got his wake-up call when he bought the Beatles.
Yep.
He asked Mark, what's his name for the Beatles, the lead singer. He says, "Hey man, how much are you?"
Paul McCartney.
He said, "Paul McCartney." He says, "Hey Paul." He says, "How much is Sony selling y'all's royalties for?" And he was like, "Oh, 60 million." He said, "Okay, cool." He said, Paul McCartney called him up. "Man, what the hell you doing?" "What, man? You bought our royalties?" He said, "Yeah, but I gave him 60." He said, "I gave him 65 million." He said, "I gave him an extra 5 million just to be nice about it." But even Paul McCartney was pissed at him for buying his royalties. He knew he got his royalties.
But before he did that, he made sure to do 2 songs with Paul McCartney just so he can get more money.
Right. You know what's funny there, BGS, is that these folks, there's a lot of female-like behavior here. You notice that most of the folks coming here saying this are dudes and not women. And typically
that's what makes it
will fall in line. Right. So,
Swerters know better than to come in here.
Right.
Especially on one of these impromptu. Now I'm nicer on my weekend hangouts. I'm a whole lot nicer on these.
You know what you actually are, because you seem to be ticked off Monday through Friday.
Well, that's because the reason that he usually have these is because somebody.
No, that's what I'm saying. If he has to do an impromptu, he's like, okay, I'm finna go all in.
What kills me though is that they don't at least it's as if they hear something you said on something, and that's enough. They don't need to know your background, why you think that. And even if you start explaining, if at the time that they hear you say something, even if you start explaining why, I firmly believe they don't even listen to that part. They heard something they didn't like, not something that they said that they're saying, "Hey, that's incorrect. I just don't like that you said it." That's why I'm saying that it's female-like behavior.
Well, that's because
whether you like it doesn't matter in the big scheme of things. Nobody cares what you like. There's a lot of stuff that black people don't like. If us merely not liking it changed our situation, we would be in Shangri-La by now.
You know how many mulattoes try to lead the black community over the past 200 years?
A lot of them. Oh, how about the white dude? How about the white guy that was in charge, that was leading a group of white nationalists, some white hate group, right? They found out that this dude had some black person in his family like 3-4 generations back. They kicked him out and spray painted nigger on the side of his house. And this is an Undertaker motorcycle ride, and if you walked up to him, you wouldn't have any idea that he has, 3 or 4 generations back, he has one black person.
He didn't either. He didn't either.
And did not tell you
Yes, sir.
that if you got one nigga
There you go.
One drop.
anywhere in your lineage,
Mm-hmm.
they better not find that nigga.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. What
Because
I
if
say,
they
BGS,
do-
ain't no such thing as part nigga.
Your motherfucking ass is gonna be labeled a nigga for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I'm like Chris and Carolyn. I don't care. I have 3 biracial children. I don't call them black. It don't matter what you call. I'm
Exactly.
gonna go ahead and say it. I'm gonna channel my inner angry man. No matter what you call them, bitch.
There you go.
Look, let me tell you something. Being a nigga is like your boy Jon Snow on Game of Thrones. He
He's a
talking
bastard.
about he don't want the throne. He was like, nigga, it don't matter what you
You
want.
won't.
It is what it is, nigga.
You're the last. Yeah. Yep. You're the last remaining male heir, even if you are a bastard.
Yep.
Exactly.
Like they put that label on you the same way you fucking they put titles on motherfuckers like you black. There's nothing that can be done about that.